When you're talking about Becky Lynch, you're talking about one of the most important stars that WWE has produced in the modern era. But what makes ranking her best matches difficult is that some of her biggest performances weren't just great matches. They were major moments that changed how women's wrestling was presented. So for this list, I'm not just ranking these based on personal opinion. I'm looking at match quality, crowd reaction, historical importance, and how well these matches still hold up today. Some rankings might surprise you, some might cause debate. And honestly, that's part of what makes these lists fun. So let's hit that intro and get into it. Break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up. Number 10, Natalya, SummerSlam 2019. Kicking things off at number 10 is Becky Lynch versus Natalya at SummerSlam in 2019. This match sometimes gets overlooked when people talk about Becky's best performances, but it really shouldn't. What made this one stand out was the style. Instead of relying on flashy sequences or big stunt spots, the entire match was built around submissions, counters, and straight up physical wrestling. Natalya leaned heavily into her technical background, consistently targeting Becky and forcing her to fight out of holds instead of trading moves. That gave this match a gritty feel that stood out compared to a lot of the other women's matches happening in WWE around that time. Becky also did a great job selling the struggle throughout the match, making every escape feel earned. It wasn't the biggest match of her career in terms of headlines, but from a pure wrestling standpoint, it showed how well Becky could work a slower, more methodical style and still keep the crowd invested. And sometimes, those kind of matches age better than people expect. Number 9, Trish Stratus, Payback, 2020. This match worked for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one was the generational dynamic. Trish Stratus represents the era before the women's revolution, while Becky became one of the faces of the modern era. What made this match surprising to a lot of fans was how well Trish held up. She didn't just show up for nostalgia. She actually delivered a performance that felt competitive and believable. The steel cage also added enough intensity without overwhelming the match. Instead of using it as a gimmick, both women used the cage strategically throughout the fight. Becky's role here was just as important. She carried the pacing, she kept the story moving, and helped make sure the match felt meaningful, instead of just showcasing a legend. When it was over, it felt like a respectful passing of the torch moment between two very different generations of WWE women's wrestling. Number 8, Asuka, Royal Rumble 2019. Next up is Becky versus Asuka at the Royal Rumble in 2019. This match came during one of the most important stretches of Becky's career, when the momentum behind the man character was built every single week. Asuka brought a completely different style into the match. Her offense is fast, aggressive, and unpredictable, which forced Becky to consistently adjust and fight from underneath. That clash of styles created a match that felt urgent from start to finish. Even though Becky didn't walk away with the championship that night, the match still played a major role in the bigger story that would eventually lead to WrestleMania. And sometimes a match's importance isn't just about who wins, it's about what it sets up next. Number 7, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks, WrestleMania 32. The triple threat match at WrestleMania 32 that featured Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha. This match represented a turning point for WWE's women's division. The Divas Championship was being retired, and a new Women's Championship was being introduced. That meant the match had real pressure behind it. All three women stepped up and delivered a performance that showed the division was moving in a completely different direction. Instead of short matches or filler segments, this felt like a legitimate championship contest with serious stakes. Becky didn't win the title that night, but she absolutely held her own against two of the most talented wrestlers in the division. And looking back, this match helped set up the foundation for everything the women's division would become over the next several years. Number 6, Bianca Belair, SummerSlam 2022. This match carried a lot of emotional weight because of what happened the year before, when Becky defeated Bianca in just seconds at SummerSlam 2021. Fans waited almost a full year to see that rivalry truly end. By the time this rematch happened, the story had built up enough tension that the crowd was invested fully in every moment. Once the bell rang, both women delivered a match that felt like a real main event level showdown. Bianca's athleticism and strength clashed perfectly with Becky's experience and ring awareness. It wasn't just about the title, it was about redemption, and the match delivered exactly the payoff fans had been hoping for. Before we get into the top 5, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you don't miss any uploads, drop a comment down below. What Becky match do you think deserves to be on this list? Or do you think one should be ranked higher? So let's get back into it. Coming in at number 5 is Becky and Bianca at WrestleMania 38. WrestleMania matches always come with a different level of pressure, and both women clearly understood that. The match told a strong story from start to finish. Becky leaned heavily into her heel tactics, consistently trying to slow Bianca down and keep control of the match. Meanwhile, Bianca played the role of the resilient challenger, absorbing punishment but never backing down. What really helped this match stand out was the pacing. Every major moment felt deliberate, and the crowd stayed invested the entire time. By the time the match reached its final stretch, it felt like a true WrestleMania moment. Number 4, Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell 2019. The next spot goes to Becky and Sasha inside Hell in a Cell. This match had intensity from the very beginning. The cell environment allowed both women to push the physical side of the match further than usual, using the structure and weapons to make the rivalry feel truly personal. Sasha brought her usual high level of athleticism and creativity, while Becky matched her with a performance that felt determined and aggressive. The match never lost its momentum, and by the end, it felt like both women had gone through a genuine fight. It's still one of Becky's toughest matches she's ever had. Number 3, Becky and Sasha, NXT TakeOver Unstoppable in 2015. This match is often remembered as one of Becky's true breakout performances. At the time, Sasha already established as one of the top performers in NXT, so Becky entered the match with something to prove. What followed was one of the cleanest, most technically sound matches of Becky's career. The pacing was sharp, the counters were smooth, and both women showed just how high the level of women's wrestling in NXT had become. Years later, fans still point to this match as one of the moments where Becky proved she belonged with the very best. Number 2, Becky and Charlotte in the last woman standing match at the inaugural Evolution pay-per-view in 2018. This is the match many fans consider Becky's absolute best. The rivalry between Becky and Charlotte had been building for months, and by the time this match happened, the tension between them felt completely real. The last woman standing stipulation allowed both women to push the match into a much more brutal territory. Chairs, tables, ladders, everything was used. And every major moment felt like it could end the fight. What really elevated the match, though, was the emotion behind it. Becky wasn't just fighting to win. She was fighting to prove she belonged at the top of the women's division. And that emotional edge made the moment feel bigger. Number 1, Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, WrestleMania 35. And taking the top spot has to be the main event of WrestleMania 35. If this list were based on pure in-ring quality, the Evolution match could have easily been number 1. But history matters. This is the first women's match to main event WrestleMania. Becky was the hottest star in the company, and the entire atmosphere around the match felt bigger than just another title defense. Being there live, you can feel that even after a long night, the crowd understood they were watching something important. And when Becky won both championships, that became one of the defining images of her career. It may not be flawless technically, but when you combine importance, reaction, and legacy, it's hard to put anything else above it. That's our top 10 best Becky Lynch matches, ranked by match quality, impact, and overall importance. But with a career like Becky's, there's always going to be at least one match people think should be higher or lower, or on the list entirely. If your number one is Evolution instead of WrestleMania 35, I completely get your argument, because honestly, that debate is never going away. So now I want to hear your list. What did I rank too high? What match deserves more respect? And what did I leave off completely? Thanks for watching, and we will see you again.
Watch out, 'cause I'm here now and I'm staying.